Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have a video courtesy of the Sneaky Snake driving the Tier 7 American destroyer, the USS Sims. Now the Sneaky Snake is one of the trio of people who make up the YouTube channel BIA World of Warships, and this is a sort of collab with them. When this video goes up at the exact same time, one of my games is going to be going up on their channels with them commentating it. But this one is about this game for now, so let's dig into it. And the first thing you're going to notice is there's aircraft carriers, and the Sims is one of the better destroyers to be in if you're going to face aircraft carriers, because you have the defensive AA. Now, personally, I reserve that AA exclusively for torpedo drops. Or if it's a Saipan with just the bombers and fighters, I will use it on the bombers. I don't personally use it on fighters because it doesn't protect you from the potential damage. It just maybe forces a set of planes off from spotting. But because the Sims AA still isn't really enough, you're not going to kill a whole fighter squadron even if it's hovering over you while that's active. But what you can see is both the Sneaky Snake and Wolf here in the Moss have gone into Bravo. Sneaky Snake laid a nice smoke trail in to conceal his allies. You can see that Belfast, Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, all able to hide inside that smoke and protect them while he's sitting out here in the open doing some spotting. Now, you can't sit in the open forever. The Moss laid a smoke, so it makes sense to pull forward, get into the cover, and he did so just in time because there's that set of fighters once again, eager to try to spot him, because right now the enemy team really needs to focus on trying to delay this cap or just kill the destroyers outright. But early game, that's what I'm thinking of. If I go to a cap that we're capturing, I really want to focus on not getting hit or spotted. If I go to the off cap, I really just want to focus on getting the reset in. I don't really care about damage, it's just about putting yourself that slight bit ahead. And right now you can see the enemy team does have that tiny edge. Now, in seasons past, this would turn into the ultimate standoff game. You know, the red team, they're ahead by a couple points, they don't have to do anything. The entire onus of winning now falls to Sneaky Snake's team, and fortunately he is up to that task, and that enemy Bliskovica does not seem to be running aground right in front of pretty much the entirety of the enemy team, getting absolutely slaughtered by pretty much the entirety of Sneaky Snake's team here. You can see that defensive AA once again active, and he picks up his first kill. And that is massive in a ranked battle. Getting that kill in, they're now ahead on points, they've taken out one of the sets of eyes that that enemy team has. And when you've only got a 2-destroyer match with this many battleships, your vision matters a lot. Now yes, there's still the aircraft carriers, and ultimately they're providing the majority of your vision. But, you know, aircraft carriers can get very wrapped up in dealing with one another. Especially when they're the same aircraft carrier, which, in this case, they're not. You can see it's a Saipan versus the Hiryu. But so often you'll see the fighter groups just lock one another up, and the strike squadrons will hover off on the peripheries, a little afraid of taking damage, and as a result the carrier doesn't do one of its primary things, at least in my opinion in ranked, and that is spotting. And there's one thing the Sims is great at, and that is harassing. You can see a great rate of fire, Sneaky Snake lobbing the shells over that island at the enemy Nagato. Has already lit 3 fires, just got another one. The damage is ticking up, so the fire is stuck, and he switches to the next target. And that's really one of those critical things when you are playing that kind of fire starter role, is to just switch between the targets. The second you get a fire on one ship, just go to the next. Don't focus on just trying to light fires all on the same vessel. Especially not before they've burned their damage control. And more battleship players are getting wise to the whole light one fire, waste the damage control, and then all of a sudden 3 more fires get lit on them. So they're letting that fire tick and burn, which gives you free damage. Another 2 fires there, a third one, and Sneaky Snake has done a whole heck of a lot to that enemy team. And the thing I find really interesting looking at them is they've all grouped up into one little ball, which really isn't too helpful for this destroyer. You can see Sneaky Snake is pinging, he's indicating what he's doing, he's going for that enemy DD, and he's got the help of a Moss who's on some pretty low health. Now, Mayhem versus Sims, this really comes down, in my opinion, to the captain at the helm. A lot of destroyer fights really do come down to that. I've watched Shiratsu's absolutely rip apart Bliskovich's because one captain was simply better than the other. And you can really see in his case, Sneaky Snake has put a hell of a lot of damage out pretty quickly on that Mayhem. And he does have help, but I suspect that Mayhem wasted a good chunk of his time launching torpedoes, which are nowhere near Sneaky Snake. And too often I watch destroyers, throw away the gunfight to try to get torpedoes in. And really, if you're in a knife fight with another destroyer, or even just sub 10k with another destroyer, you shouldn't really be focusing on, okay, I'm going to kill him with only my torpedoes. Sure, launch them between a volley. You never know what's going to hit. The luck chuck can pay off surprisingly well. But that Mayhem seemed for quite some time to really just be focused, not on his guns, but on getting those torps in the water. And as a result, they're dead. Sneaky Snake isn't. And Sneaky Snake's just going right back to his old games. Found that Nagato, and he is eager to light him on fire. And there it is. Picks up the second cap, and things are pretty even. They've got the destroyers from the enemy team, but the enemy team has managed to kill 2 of their battleships. And if you look where those deaths are, well, one is right there, north side of the island from the ball. I wasn't paying attention, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the Saipan that got the kill there. And, well, the other one, way back in cap, never even moved. And that's just a letdown in ranked. Of all the places to be AFK, ranked is the worst. In my opinion, when you choose this game mode, you make a commitment to actually show up to the game and attempt to win. Whether you're good or not, that's irrelevant. But as long as you show up and try, that's what you have to do. And, maybe something happened, there's a disconnect, who knows. But it definitely hurt Sneaky Snake's team. Fortunately, Snake here is doing a great job working down these enemy battleships. Already has a high caliber, which is really impressive in a destroyer, and even more so only 10 minutes into this match. You can see him working this Ganesi over, and he's got the fire going. He's switched to AP. And the AP shell actually landed with some pretty good damage, but the second that fire was put out, he's back on the HE trying to light fires. The other thing he's doing here is not sitting still. Too often, destroyers are happy to sit still in the smoke, and you can see that Gneisenau is inside 6 kilometers. He's getting really close to a potential hard detection range, depending on his setup. Could have posed a risk there. So Sneaky Snake was moving forwards, moving backwards, just making sure he wasn't going to get caught out and had that maneuverability available. Picked up another kill. He's up to 117,000 damage and is just working these enemy battleships over. And this is why destroyers are so dangerous, particularly when there's aircraft carriers. As I said, one of the main roles, in my opinion, in ranked of the aircraft carrier isn't to put out damage, it's to spot. And that spotting is particularly useful to ships with smoke. So the Belfasts, the Flints, all the destroyers. Because their ability to see out of that smoke is so limited. Yes, in a few cases you've got radar or hydro, but when you've got aircraft carriers, they can very easily spot for you, and you can just focus on keeping the guns going, and that's exactly what Sneaky Snake is doing here. 266 shells so far. He's up to 122,000 damage and hasn't landed a single torpedo. He has lit 13 fires though, and just an absolute crap ton of harassing fire that all adds up, and well, it's starting to add up on that Miyoko, and that's when the Saipan gets spotted. Throws one volley at the Saipan, and then I think realizes, no, this Miyoko's on low health. Let's finish him off. And well, at 2,000 health, this Miyoko's kind of up the creek without a paddle. Sneaky Snake picks up the Confederate there, and any second here is going to pick up a kill on the Miyoko. It's up to almost 130,000 damage. There's 2 ships left on the enemy team. Snake has both the caps. He assisted with one, solo capped the other. This game's over. There's no coming back from this. This is one of those points where that threshold has been crossed, and it's simply insurmountable with that kind of point lead and only 2 ships left. Now it comes down to, can you secure a couple extra kills or some extra damage? And the extra damage, yeah, that's not doable either. Now that is definitely one of those games you want to go and to just keep on playing because free damage and kills. But in reality, I wouldn't say Sneaky Snake really needed it. 623,000 credits, high caliber Confederate, 8,000 experience, 130,000 damage, and 4 kills. Now, I definitely think he could have picked up the Kraken if that game had kept going, but he got both caps. So there was really no coming back to it. And I think that game was ultimately decided by just a bit of non-commitment from the enemy team. They all seemed to be going in the same direction, and then with Snake and the Moss in that one cap, they all turned and just turned into a ball, and Sneaky Snake took full advantage of that, just working them all over with HE fire that all added up to a very dead enemy team and an amazing base experience score, almost 3,500 base XP, which is absolutely amazing in ranked. You know, I'm always happy if I hit the 2,000 mark. I'm like, yeah, that was an amazing game. So to see that kind of score is pretty stunning. And it makes sense when you look at what Sneaky Snake did as far as just damage across the board. Picked up the 4 kills, he got the solo cap, got an assisted cap, and worked over all their battleships. And as a result, at the end of the day, he walked home with 562,000 credits, 8,000 XP, way more experience for the captain, and a win in ranked. Got that star, and that's what ultimately matters in ranked battles. But now is where I would normally put a plug for myself, but this one is all dedicated to BIA. They're a small YouTube channel, about the exact same size as my own. We kind of ran into each other on the forums and, said, hey, let's do something together. I'm hoping this is just kind of the first start of some future bigger collab projects. And I've really enjoyed chatting with them, watching some of their videos, and I'd like to ask you to go over to their channel, check them out. It's going to be linked in the description, or you can just click right here, assuming I figure out how to make annotations work. Anyways, until later, I'm Qckslvrslash.